Alright, class. This is going to be week 6 lecture. As I mentioned last time, we are not going to have synchronous class Monday, September 21. But we will get together on Wednesday, the September 23rd. At that time, we're going to be a synchronous class. Now, as I mentioned before, you guys are going to have to watch the video that I made. Okay, lecture video I made on Wednesday last week. And then one that I'm making right now for the Monday, which is tomorrow. If you don't send me an email saying that, I finished watching, then you're going to get marked absent. And if you don't have, if you have 4 absence, the 5th absence, you're going to get dropped. So be careful. Okay, so just after you watch the video, send me an email saying that I finished, watching it. Okay, so that's just going to be your, your attendance. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about the something called the greatest common factor. Okay. So what the greatest common factor is that when you look at the any type of polynomials, if you have a different terms, you can find the common variables or common constants from each term that you can take out as the factor. So that's what the the greatest common factor is. For example, you can have, I'm going to write that in a minute, but you can have many different terms of the polynomial, but when you look at it, just, if some of the terms have the variable, you can take them out. Okay? So that's what we call common factor. And as you take out the common factor, if you can, take out as many as you can, and that's going to be your the greatest common factor here. So the simple example here is this: you just look for the common variables and the constants from each term that you have. Okay, so I'm going to write 4 x squared y squared, and I have a minus 10 xy cubed plus 18 x cubed y4. All right, so that's what I have here. So we're going to look at each term and find out, see if any common factors are there in each term there. So we're going to look at the first term here, 4x squared y squared and minus 10xy cubed and 18x cubed and y4. So let's just look at the constant term first. So you got 4, then you got 10, and you got 18. So what will be the next highest, or the biggest, the largest, constant term that you can take out? In other words, that if you take out something, you multiply with something else, then you're going to get these numbers here. So the biggest number that you can take out for these 3 terms is going to be 2, right? Because of 2 times 2, you get 4. So I'm just going to write it like this. I'm going to write the 2 x squared y squared. Then you can have a minus 5 here, because of 2 times minus 5 will get 10. So that's going to be xy cubed. And then we have, I'm going to have a 9, because 2 times 9, you get 18. Okay, so 2 is going to be the largest factor that you can take out from each term. All right, so that's fine. Now let's look at the x variable here. I have x squared here, then I have x over here, then I have x cubed. So the largest you can take out is going to be x, right? Because you cannot take out x squared because this one is going to be a problem there, right? Because you only have x there. So x is going to be, the x term, we're going to be x. So then if I have a 2x, okay, so we took one x out of there, then one is going to be remaining, okay, then y squared. And the second term, we took the x out, so we don't have any more. So then it's going to be y cubed. And the third term, I took out x, so remaining is going to be x squared. Okay. And then y, we still haven't taken care of that yet. All right. All right. Now we're going to have to look at the y term here. So we want to find the largest y term that we can take out. So here's the y squared, and here's the, the x has to be x squared. Oh, that's fine. And if you look at the y, we got y squared, y cubed, and the y to the fourth. So the largest we can take out is going to be y squared. So we take that out. So you got 2x y squared. Then the 2x. Now since we took out the y squared here in the first term, we're not going to do anything. And then on the second term, we took the y squared, then it's just going to be a y. And the third term, we have, we took the y squared out, so we're going to have a y squared remaining. So we have a 9x squared and the y squared. Okay. So the greatest common factor now, right, is going to be 2xy squared. So that's going to be our GCF, the greatest common factor for all these three terms here. Okay, so you may think that this is kind of slow going, but you're still going to have to do this. Otherwise, you won't be able to find out what the greatest common factor is. So when we get into the factoring method, you're going to have to understand the first thing that we have to do is look for the greatest common factor. We're going to take that out to the front, and then we're going to rewrite the remaining ones. Okay, so if you want to find the greatest common factor, just watch out for each term and look for the common constants and the variables. Okay, and whatever is the largest common variable or the constant, you just take them out to the front and rewrite the remaining ones, and you will find the greatest common factor there. Okay, so the greatest common factor is not that bad. It's not that difficult to find the greatest common factor, because you just have to look for a common the constants and the variables. Now the other thing that we're going to have to learn is going to be something called grouping method. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use the grouping method. Now this is going to be a factoring though, right? Factoring by grouping. So before we get to that, I'm going to show you what this means here. So if I have, let's say for example, like x plus 2, I'm just going to, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so if I have something like, I don't understand why. Okay, so if I have, let's say, multiplying x plus 2 and x plus 1, for example, okay, so then I will get x squared plus 3x plus 2. So the way we are going in this directions, okay, is called the multiplication of the polynomial. On the other hand, if I'm going back to the other side, going this direction, for example, we call this factoring. Okay? So when I say factoring, we want to go from to the x squared plus 3x plus 2 back to the in terms of a multiplication form. That's what we mean by the factoring. So we kind of demonstrate the factoring, the most simple one, using the greatest common factor. So that's okay. Now let's look at the first type of many different types of factoring. Is the what we call the grouping method. Okay, so I'm just going to write grouping method. Okay. Now it's not always true, but usually the grouping method involves 4 terms. Usually. Okay. Usually involves, okay, 4 terms. Okay. So if you have 4 terms, you might, consider whether you're going to have to use the grouping method or not. I'm going to show you how to use the grouping method here by giving you an example here. Okay. So here's the x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 6. So what we're going to do here is that we are going to pair them. Okay, you got 4 terms here. We're going to pair 2 and the 2. So I'm going to put these 2 terms together, and then we're going to put these 2 together. Let's just do that. So then I'm going to put the parentheses and put them together like this. So you got x cubed plus 2x squared plus 2x plus 6. Okay? So once you put them into the 2 different groups like this under the parentheses, we're going to have to look for greatest common factor. Okay? So what we're going to do here is that we're going to look for GCF from here, then we're going to look for GCF from as well. So for the first one, the greatest common factor is going to be x squared, because this one doesn't have a constant, and this one has x cubed, and this is x squared. So the largest one you can take out is x squared. So I'm going to take out the x squared here. And then we're going to have x plus 2. Okay? Now we are going to do the same thing over here. Okay? Now you're going to have to be careful. Did I do this one right? X cubed 3x squared plus, okay. Okay. That means a 3 over here. I don't know why I put 2 here. Kind of strange, huh? So I'm going to put as the 3x squared, and that's going to be 3. Okay. Now when you look at the 2x plus 6, the common factor is the only constant term. In this case, it's going to be 2. And then I have x plus 3. Now then, I am going to put these 2 terms in the bracket, so you don't get confused here. So you got bracket here and the bracket over there. Now, so within this green bracket, I want you to tell me what the common factor is. Well, common factor for these 2 green bracket, I have x plus 3 here, and I have x plus 3 over there, right? So because they are in terms of multiplications, right? Now I can take them out as my common factor. So I can say Now, common factor for these two green, bracket is going to be x plus 3. And the remaining is going to be x squared on the first green bracket, and the 2 on the second green bracket. And now, as you can see, we have factor form of the x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 6. So the grouping method is going to be always involving 4 terms, at least in this class. And the you're going to have to, when you see something like this, you might want to consider, oh yeah, I have a 4 term. This might be, involving grouping method. So, and people, usually, ask me, how do you know which one to combine? And, it's always going to be first 2 and it's going to be always last 2. Not necessarily. You're always going to have to try it, because sometimes that if you pair the first 2, it may not work. So sometimes you're going to have to pair first one and the third one, or first and the fourth one. You're just going to have to try, okay? And if it doesn't work, then you're going to have to try the other way, okay? So that's going to be the key thing here. So before we move, I want to try another one. So this one involves the both common factor and the grouping method here. So I'm just going to give you guys this. I have a 2y cubed plus 14y squared minus 4y squared, okay, and minus 28y. So, I always am, tell my students saying that it doesn't matter what type of factoring you do. The first thing that you're going to do is look for a common factor. Okay, so you're going to have to look for each term, and then look for the common factor for for all the terms there. So if you look at the these 4 terms, we might have some common factor on the constant here. So you got 2 here, 14 over there. You got 4 here. And you got 28 over there. So I'm going to take out the 2 from the common constant there. So there will be a 2. The other one here is that y cube. I mean the y term. So we have a y cube here, y square over there, and y square over there, and the y. So the biggest y that I can take out is going to be y. Alright, so I'm just going to take out the y. Then we are going to rewrite the rest of them. So if I take out the 2y from the 2y cube, I'm going to get y squared. Now for the second one, I have a 14y squared, and I took out the 1y and the 2, so that will give you a 7y. Okay. Minus, now the third one is going to be a 4, so you took out the 2, so that's going to be 2. And you took y from y squared, so that just give you y. Okay. Let's look at the last one. You got 28, so if you take out the 2, that should be giving you minus 14. So you took out the y, so you no longer have y. Okay. Now here, from here, we're going to have to use the the grouping method here. Okay, so let me go over here. Okay. So what I have here is the 4 terms. So now we still have a 2y from the outside. Don't forget that one. So we're going to come back and get that one. So I'm just going to, write first 2 and the last 2. Let's just do that. So I have a y squared plus 7y. Then I'm going to put the parentheses here. We still have a 2y in the front. Okay. Then I have a minus. Then I have a 2y. here it's going to have to be plus 14. Because minus plus give you minus there. So here we are going to take out the common factor of the first one is a y. So we're going to take out the common factor y here. And then I'm just going to put them into the green bracket like before. So you got, if you take out the y, then we're going to have y plus 7 remaining. Minus. On the 2y plus 14, we are going to take out the 2. Okay. I'm going to put the other one here, the next bracket. And here. And if I take out the 2, then you will get y plus 7. Let me see. Okay, so now we're going to have to take care of this green bracket here. So if you look at the green bracket, the common factor now is going to be, the y plus 7, right, on both brackets. So we're going to take them out. So I'm going to write 2y, it was already there. Then I'm going to take out the y plus 7 from both green brackets. And the remaining will be, then the between these two will be, green bracket will be y minus 2. Okay, so this is going to be your factor form of the given question there. So this is another things that I'm just telling you, that it doesn't matter what type of factoring you do, you always look for common factor before you do anything else. Because if you don't do that, sometimes, the things are getting a little bit more difficult than it is. Okay. Now, I'm probably going to, do a couple of more topics here. Then I'm probably going to make another video for you guys to watch. So I don't want to, spend, hour, because, the last video, because we had the exam I had to go through. So I don't try to make this video, try not to make it longer than half an hour, because, after you watch half an hour, some people say too much and they're just, not watching it anymore. So I'm just going to make it shorter. But at the same time, I'm going to make it, many different ones, so you guys can watch like 30 minutes, or you then, finish it and come back and watch another one at different times. Okay, so let me finish the what we call factoring trinomial. Then then I'll finish this video. Then I'll make another one for the rest of the factoring. Okay. So this one's going to be factoring, okay, trinomials. Now this one's going to be, there are two kinds of, trinomials. So this is going to be the form of x squared plus bx plus c. Next video that I'm probably going to talk about, if you have a in front of it, it's kind of the same thing, but that's what we're going to do next time. All right. So what we're going to do here is that, we have any type of x squared plus bx plus c. If you have anything like that, I'm going to show you an example in a minute, but there's a lot of different ways we can do this, but I'm going to show my way. If you like it, then you can use this. If not, then, you can use whatever the method that you learn from high school or other colleges, or, if that makes sense, but, it has to make sense to me though. Okay. So I show you my way, and then if you like it, you can keep using it. If you don't like it, but the important thing here is that you need to understand how to factor these trinomials. Okay. So let me show you by a couple of examples of factoring trinomial. So the first one's going to be x squared plus 8x, okay, plus 12. I found that this is the easiest way. So what I want you to do here is that when you look at the first term is going to be x squared. So it's always going to be x and x. Okay, x and x. So you vertically multiply. Okay, multiply. And same thing over here, 12. Now there are, different combination here, right? So 12, you can write it as 6 times 2. Or 12, you can write it as 4 times 3. 12, you can rewrite it as 1 times 12. However, but, you want to try the closest one first. Like in this case, 12 equals 4 times 3. That's the closest one. But in this particular problem, that's not going to work. Okay? So I'm going to try the first one, 6 times 2. So remember that, you have to multiply vertically. So 6 times 2, you get 12, right? X times x, you get x squared. Now, once you have that, you're going to have to be careful about taking care of this signs over here. So because what I have here is going to be x plus 6. Plus 6 and plus 2, because 6 times a positive 6 times a positive 2, you get 12. And positive x times a positive x, and you get positive x squared. The reason it's going to be important is because when you cross multiply, you have to come up with the plus 8x. So in other words, that we're going to have to cross multiply like this. Okay? And same thing over here. So if I cross multiply the 6, I'm just going to redo this. If I cross multiply 6 times x, I get 6x. If I multiply 2 times x, I get 2x. Okay? Now, in order to come up with the plus 8x, you're going to have to add these two quantities. Okay? And that comes out to be 8x. So the combination that I selected, or from the possibility of these three combinations, in this case I chose 6 and 2, is a good combination. So once you have that, you're going to have to write it as a factor form. So in this case, it's going to be x plus 6 times and x plus 2. Okay, so this is a factor form of x squared plus 8x plus 2. So as I mentioned previously, that going from here, from a factor form to the polynomial, we call them multiplications. If you go from the polynomial back to the factor form, we call that factoring, right? So that's the difference there. Now sometimes it's going to be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to show you another example that, because of the negative signs in the middle, sometimes it makes a lot of difference there. So this one I'm going to try x squared minus 10x plus 24. Again, we're going to split the x with x. Remember, we vertically multiply, so we're going to multiply this way. Okay. Now on the 24, we got quite a few combinations here, right? So you can have like 4 times 6. 24, you can have 3 times 8. 24, we can have 12 times 2. 24, you can have like 24 times 1. It seems like that, we're going to have to end up with minus 10. So I'm going to start with the 4 and 6. Okay, that's the closest one. So we're going to try closest one first. 6 and 4. Now remember that, we're going to have to take care of this sign over here, right? Now we can have a plus plus just like the previous problem, but we're going to have to end up with a minus in the middle. So I'm probably going to use both minus here. Why? Because if I multiply vertically, minus 4 times minus 6, I get 24. So, because minus 4 times minus 6, you get positive 24. Now let's look at the cross multiplying here. So if I cross multiply this way, I get minus 6x. And if I cross this way, I get minus 4x. So if I add these two, I get minus 10x, and that's what I have in the middle there. So the factor form of this one is going to be x minus 6 times and x minus 4. So this is why I'm telling you that you're going to have to take care of the sign in the middle. So when you choose the possible combinations, make sure that when you cross multiply, you're going to end up with the same, the sign with the same quantity there. Okay? All right, so I'm going to stop here. Then, I'm going to come back to the next video. Then we're going to talk about more about the factoring. And then we'll talk about some, polynomial equations applications. Okay? All right, see you later.